All right, everybody, welcome back. We have our first race of the marathon right now. We've got a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 race between B, or Iemonademilk, sawwl, and JoeRandom. So, everybody want to introduce yourselves and commentators talk for a bit, and we can get this thing going.
Well, I'm B, the one that you just watched a second ago. And, I mean, yeah, you just saw me a second ago.
Yeah, sure, I'm Sawwl. I like this game a lot. Probably the best one in the series. Don't let people tell you it's the one.
Oof.
This is the best one. It's the fastest one. It's stronger than all the other ones. It's got the best goals. It's got the best style. So yeah, we're in for a treat. A lot of good players.
Hello, I'm JoeRandom. I've been speedrunning a variety of Tony Hawk games, but this is probably the one I've put the most time into because this game has seen quite a few waves of activity, and I've been peer pressured into running this game a lot.
By me.
By Sawwl.
Yeah, shout out to Sawwl for peer pressuring me.
All right, and then the commentators can go and introduce themselves. They have each other muted right now, which is why I'm coordinating this, because they cannot hear each other.
And on the Packle, you guys are going to be in for a treat. These are 3 of the top 5 best players in the world. Just recently, Sawwl and JoeRandom just had a bit of a world record war going on. Like, these guys are insanely good. And B is not too far behind. She can hold her own in this game as well. You're all going to be in for a treat. These are fantastic games to run. I'm looking forward to this.
All right, so we've got everything covered. If everyone can get back to game start, and we can get ready to go. I'll give everybody a second to get there.
That threw me off. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we've got everybody set. Let's go ahead and start the race in 3, 2, 1, go.
The Pro Skater 4 is the first game that kind of went into more of a story-based approach as opposed to the whole classic approach when it came 1 through 3. It started change things up a little bit, and this is culmination of all those efforts. It's a great game. As you'll see, they went straight ahead and made a cutscene, a custom waypoint at the beginning. They'll come back to that in a minute. Another thing about this game is that you'll see after every goal, you'll have like a little cutscene of like congratulations from the NPC giving you the goal, and they'll be like, "Oh, nice one," or whatever. Which gives a little bit of a break for runners, and then they go straight into the next goal. They kind of just fly around. Kind of hard to kind of go through all of these. One of the more unique aspects about this game as well, most of these goals have an IL like leaderboard. Like or IL timer that you can see on the top, and in the main menu you can also see the ILs, which allows us to have an IL leaderboards pretty easily, which wasn't reintroduced until 1+2 came out. But look at that, we're already flying through this a little bit. One of the things as well added on with this game was this is all PC for everyone knowing. The base game is does not have drop down, and was kind of decided as a community a mod to it's a thing that everyone used to play with the PS2 because it was on PS2 for a little bit, or during on that version, and we kind of allowed it to bring it into the PC version, and it allows for really cool combos and a lot of really cool tech that you wouldn't see otherwise. This game you wouldn't think about it, but this one decision brought down the time exponentially, and these guys just keep on just pushing it further and further.
I did not know that. I remember suggesting drop downs R2, L2. That was like my first actual input that like got into the game for PS2. And so you're saying that the default like PC ship version just didn't have it?
Yep, didn't have it. We had this model. We had to add a QB file to the game's directory in order for us to use it. I don't remember which button it is. I think it's on. It's one of the triggers. I think you can set it. and then with that you can just drop down and go off the rail.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, you could hit R2 or L2 while on a rail and it'll drop you down. My original idea, the pitch was to like, when you ollie off a rail in skateboarding, like you don't really necessarily want to ollie off like 6 feet every time. So it would be cool to just like kind of pop off, like really, subtly, like maybe 6 inches or something. But Neversoft's interpretation across, the US over forums was to just drop down. And it ended up being a really cool tech, and I'm glad that they were able to get it in. But yeah,
it's changed a lot of things with these games as a whole. We also, by that same rule, we allowed it into Thug 1 because the PC version on that doesn't have drop downs as well. It's been used a little bit more over time, but THPS 4 is kind of where it took off, and it honestly the most powerful there.
Yeah, also the quick turn was introduced in this version too, which has kind of just become its own tech across the board for all the Tony games. Which is like, once you go back to 1, 2, and 3, it's like I miss it a ton. Like I always try and use it.
Yeah, if someone's practicing 2 right now, it's like you miss something, you gotta just slowly turn.
Just like,
Okay, so we're skipping out some major things. There's right here, we have sawwl and B right behind him go into parade floats. This one, how it works is if you jump into the bowl and then you do a lip trick into a revert, it stores that variable and for whatever reason, and then it's like it adds to it. Nice. And so if you just keep doing that a few times, you can easily get 10. You don't have to do any sort of like transfer. You just only do it like once or twice, and it's literally it. It's incredibly powerful tech, especially in the same idea that no one wants to hear this music blaring, because even on 1, it is so obnoxiously loud.
How we do this? That's how we do this.
I think it ignores like your music volume too. It's just like, no, you get to hear this full volume. Like,
it's like, no, please. Oh, all right, we're done with college. Everyone graduated. We're going straight into the next level.
As you do, San Francisco after college.
This level has a lot of interesting. You're starting to see a little bit more of the waypoint mechanic used a little bit more in this level for sure. One towards the beginning, we'll come back to it a little bit later. We had like one in college, it just gets one, but it starts to introduce more and more as we start to use that to just go into other goals entirely. Well, nice, 50k. Okay, not too bad. That's kind of like the basic strat right there.
It's wild.
All right, so you see manual, right? Okay, we're gonna do a manual, but one thing you could do is you just hit straight. Oh, he didn't hit it right. If you didn't happen right there, but if you jump into that building, it kind of lands the combo right there for some reason, which makes it a little bit faster. Then we kind of come to one of the more interesting IL times. There's a little bit more. Each goal has their own ILs, as I said before, and they all have the weird routes. Sometimes ILs are different between an IL timer and a RTA time. This is kind of one of the more interesting ones as well, coming with the messengers. I'm going straight into a dark slide, which is one of the more quick ones as well. Like, and just like that, we're done. Like that one, people fight for like literally. People literally
he dark slided one way, and the cutscene shows him dark sliding the other way is like literally unplayable.
That's also true. That's one of the quicker ILs, and people fight for like literally tenths, even like hundredths of a second to get the record for that one. It's kind of toxic to play on that one, to be honest. It's you precise movements.
Can you educate me on what an IL is? Is that like an individual?
Yeah, individual level. I'm sorry. Okay. So it's literally just doing the goal, and that is your speed run. In a speed run sense, you have a full game run, or you can just do like individual levels, and we call instead of levels, we say individual levels, but in this case, it means individual goals.
Yeah, that's why I
assumed. Our own timer, and we have our own leaderboard to verify it, because someone can just make up a time. It's not hard to mess around with the timer in these games. So we usually require some sort of video proof to show that you actually did it. And you just saw a super sketch right there. And you'll see a little more coming up as well. But super sketch allows you to, as soon as you sketch, you start going onto a rail, you just get a lot of speed. If you just right there as you go back and forth between the rails, you just continue just mounting even more speed, even more quickly, and it's really cool to look at. And it's
really broken.
Disorienting because it's going so fast.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, if you could play with vehicles online, like it would just change the entire dynamic of scoring for sure. Because you can get so much. That's the only place where you could really break speed in Tony 4 is skitching, then grinding right after.
Yeah, for sure. So coming up on this goal, so I might be a little bit behind because JoeRandom is a little bit behind for us. The manual, the gap. You saw right there, and oh yeah, the B's coming up on it too. I'm trying to keep track of everyone's difficult. You can do manual into a gap into the manual. This one is broken on PC to the point of that it requires. We have a required, not really required. We recommend you use a frame limiter of some kind because the game has uncapped frame rate. I think to 140. I think is the max. I can't remember the exact number. But it messes with the collision and the timing and the triggers of certain goals, and that's one of them. If you have everything based to 60 FPS, you have no problems running this game, but we have to use something like Riva Tuner or Fraps or some sort of limiter just so those goals actually work properly.
Whoa. Is it all like continuation gap goals in particular, or is it just a couple goals randomly?
Ones, I can't remember all of them right off the top of my head. I know that was like one of the first major ones. Usually, if you're a new runner, you start practicing and you get to that goal and you realize it's not working. And usually people come in and be like, hey, why is this gap not working? The first thing we ask is, do you have a frame limiter on? And usually it's no, in which case we're like, yeah, just get a frame limiter. Here's the EXE, run that. Or here's how to get the EXE, download that, run it, limit your FPS, and you don't have to worry about any sort of issue. Because even in the animations of the game are capped, it like internally keeps like the 140-ish FPS, if not higher, which again messes with the collision and timing and trigger of everything. So the 60 FPS just makes it insanely more consistent.
That's crazy. That's like so intricate, but so it goes with speedrunning and just like these little bitty things that you have to know about.
Yeah, and it's hard to again. This is one of those things you will not think about unless you're in the community or you know somebody in the community who can teach you those things. Because with these games being so old, these games are from the early 2000s. We have to find some sort of backwards way to make things work half the time. Almost done with Alcatraz, by the way. I haven't got to talk about Alcatraz too much. Skate here sucks. This is one of those ones that if you miss the A, you are probably gonna have a bad time getting back to it. That the first jump point is kind of like the only good spot to do so. This goal right here with the Taurus has been rerouted several times. This is kind of like the more modern version, quote unquote, because you would want to get all the tourists knocked over. And it looks like Saul just missed one. He has to go back for it. You want to get as close back as possible so you don't have to do another retry or go back one goal. So we can go straight into Rodney Mullen and get this one done.
Dang.
We only have 2 or 3 goals left in Alcatraz. They're going by pretty fast here. Ooh, bad bail coming from B right there. Same custom restart right there.
Oh, hey, have you?
There's not much of a difference between them right now, which is pretty sick. We'll see how it goes later in the run because all of them have different times for their late game, and that's kind of when the early game is kind of the easy part of the run. To be honest, Pro Skater 4 is a pretty evil game to begin with as a casual player. This was when things started getting really hard. Point out they probably introduced difficulty mechanics in Thug 1 for this very reason.
Nice work, kid.
Yeah, I remember this was recognized amongst the devs as like, we don't want to be this hard again because we just like stonewalled new players into like not getting past like the second level and stuff like that. But to me, it was the most fun.
Yeah, it was. It's the more. This is kind of like the as a casual player, the game you'd play to see how good you are. Because this game is unforgiving. Like, the first couple levels are not too bad, but once you get to, like, Kona onwards, things can get really, really rough really, really quickly. And these guys are just going to trivialize everything because that's what they do.
Dude, the snake rum. Yeah, dude. It's like... Impressive.
That's not an easy
nice,
thing to conquer.
easy.
Nice job.
Even when I try and do this slalom run like today, I always have to retry it at least once or twice. It's like, it just goes to show how unforgiving it is. Also, Misty Flip over the hut. It's another big one. You have to like double ollie that if you don't have all your stats, and double ollieing is just the crazy tech that only a few people know about.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that's been changed a lot. A lot of people just kind of jumped and hoped at the beginning until we realized. I think bonelessing as well kind of ruins it. If you boneless over it, it's for whatever reason inconsistent. But if you just do like a regular jump, makes things a little more consistent. And there's just different variations that we found along the way. With each time this game kind of got popularity, as with all speed games, more and more stuff got found, more consistent strats got found to make things a little bit more forgiving. Because like when I ran this game for a little bit, there was a lot of unforgiving things. If you messed up once, you're losing like a solid 30 seconds to a minute just for your one misplaced input.
Yeah. Do you know, I'm not familiar with all their runs. Is everyone pretty much following the same route these days, at least for these three?
Yeah, they'll be following the same route. There might be one deviation or two, depending if they want to be marathon safe. But it's also a race, so I don't think they would. There are a couple of different variations that you could probably do as a beginner. But you definitely wouldn't do as a more hardened veteran of speedrunning in this game.
Yeah.
This has also been one of those ones, especially late game, has gotten a couple of different changes to it, both mechanically and how they did it. Like there's, I can't begin to imagine.
Awesome.
Routes changed so much that it's kind of hard for me to keep up half the time.
Yeah. I got the skate waivers.
Shouts to the 50k in the bowl without touching the bottles, by the way. That one sucks.
It does. Yeah, there's a lot of little crazy ones I totally forget about, but then you watch it's like, oh yeah, like you just get stuck on this. And they're just breezing through it, of course.
Hey, there's all around.
Just having a little bit of issue getting the points right there. Probably going a little too early. There was one variation where you kind of just use the quarter pipes, or half pipes rather, to jump up and get some points and get some speed or whatever. But it puts you a little bit out of position in the world record run to get next to the next skater, so you can start the comp. How comps work in this game, except for one instance, which we'll get to later, actually the next level. You can do a combo, do whatever the heck you want, and then end the run, and it will keep that regardless if it was even possible for you to like land it. So like say you do a bunch of cool tricks, then you do a flatline 8900, right? You should bail. But as long as you do an end run, it'll count that and be like, hey, you got 90 points. That's cool. And it's like, okay, I shouldn't have been able to land that, but whatever.
Take it.
Shipyard is the only one that it doesn't do that for whatever reason. And they actually have to land their combos. But they have to be in the top 3. That's all that matters here.
Yeah, it's funny how that just like those one-off cases that sometimes doesn't work depending on where you are. And like it was the same thing for goal attack online. Like sometimes you could end early or start a new goal and it would just seem to be a case by case and you have to memorize them all.
Yeah, luckily this is like literally the only instance of the competitions. Because Thug 1 has the competitions as well, but you can just do as I said before, just land the run and it counts. But Shipyard is the only instance that you have to land it, which it's fine. It's not that much slower, but usually we like to end off with an Indy 900 because it's, in most cases, if I'm not remembering incorrectly, it's like the trick that gives you the most points in the game. So
yeah, for sure.
The free way of getting the most points. Also, shout out to rivets. These suck.
Yep.
Messing one of the rivets, especially towards around that one elbow bend, will cost you a lot of time, and you don't have a whole lot of time on the skill to begin with. Even with your speedrunner, you only have like 5 or 6 seconds left on the timer. So you have to quickly figure out where you're going to bail out, which is probably going to be over by the bowls off the dock. Then you have to quickly go over to the rivet, pray you even hit the grind, and then keep the combo for the rest of the run. As long as even if it hits 0 on the timer, as long as you keep a combo, you're fine. In most cases, it might be one I'm forgetting. But luckily, it hasn't been too bad so far.
Looks like
the boy right here, this one right here, how this one works, you can well, I'm watching in the past now because I'm trying to keep it difficult. The boy, if you hit the grind, jump, and then mash grind again, pretty much just mashing ollie and grind, you can double tap off of that Bowie, and it will give you multiple points. I think the most I've seen is like 3 or 4. So
you can like shuffle it to get like...
Yeah, you can shuffle it. And you can do it in 2 goes if you're optimal. Really hard. It can kind of throw you off. That IL is also horrible. Hate it.
That's wild. Yeah, today I learned.
You have a lot of today's you learn.
Yeah, man. I'm a student. I never I've run these. It's really inspirational to watch this stuff, especially like this entire game in like, sub 40 minutes is like makes me want to give it a shot one day. Oh my God, Buck Lasik is in this level, isn't he? Have you noticed that Bucky Lasik? He has a typo in his name.
I did not.
That's okay. Maybe it's a pro challenge. I don't know. We'll see. Let's keep your eye out for Buck Lasik.
I was like, is there? I'm learning something. There you go. We usually just mash through the text boxes. So
true. Also, yeah.
Suspended container sucks. If you miss any of those jumps, and they try to do some sort of wall ride jumping down, because it's a lot faster than to try to span transfer. If you miss any of those jumps, you're restarting the entire goal. And because of the cutscene especially, it slows down things tremendously.
Yeah, because it's like a series of gaps, right? It's not just like do a couple. You have to like wait, and there's a start and end like multiple times.
It's like 3 followed by a cutscene, then another 3, and you're done. And the cutscene kind of just what ruins it all. Because that's like a 10-second cutscene.
Here he is, Andrew Reynolds.
We're also coming up on probably the most infamous goal in all of Pro Skater 4's history. Oh boy, this level has a few ones. Shipyard as a whole is probably one of the more difficult levels at a high level, or high level of gameplay rather. There's a lot of small things, like for example, the inventory containers. Getting that in a good combo and a good like line is difficult. Then you kind of, and it's kind of getting close to the halfway point.
There it is, Buck Classic. We saw it. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, the containers doesn't strike me as a very difficult goal, but I guess when you're routing, like there's so many of them, was it like 40 or 32 or something? That's got to be annoying, especially if you just miss one, then your whole route is just sort of screwed.
Yeah, then you kind of have to go back for or whatever. Because there's so much going on. There was a trick there where you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go up on top of that container and lip trick it. But if you do a lip trick, fall down, revert, and then kind of manual your way over to the other bowl, and then drop down, grind, and then grind for a second, then drop down again, it'll think that you actually did the container, and it'll count. A lot faster than it is in the container. Really, really high. It's probably one of the more difficult tricks to hit at this early in the run. There's a lot of really small, intricate things that kind of get in your way.
Yeah, and on top of that, this whole level is surrounded by water, so...
Exactly.
that's one of my gotchas in Tony levels. If it's surrounded by water, it's like immediate like difficult factor just like upped.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out cruise ship.
All right, so Saul's coming up on a manual combo the train.
RNG, let's go.
This is
we got
it first try. Okay, let's see if Joe gets it. Joe got it. Okay, cool. So they're not too far behind each other. B is a bit behind, but she still has plenty of time to catch up. We're just going into London, so there's plenty of things to mess with you. But the problem with that train is that the hit detection for it seeing that you did the manual is so wonky that you'll do it like literally 6 times in a row, change nothing about your inputs, and eventually one of them's going to count. It's pretty much, I wouldn't say RNG, but it might as well be.
It's so picky. I feel like I could do those perfect, and it's just like, nope, try again.
It
feels RNG.
Don't know why. We'll do the exact same inputs, and it'll just be like, okay, now you can have a run. Because of that, it is a gatekeeper, because you'll have an insane run going into London, or about to go into London. Then that is like, don't feel like it today. Your run's ruined. And if you do it, if you mess it up once, not the end of the world. It's only like 6-7 seconds. If it's more than that, especially if you're like in the top 5, top 6, you're probably looking to reset, because that's a substantial amount of time. Now we're in London for 2 of the 3 runners. This combo letters suck. It's probably one of the more difficult combo letters I can remember, at least on the non-pro side of things.
Requires you to grind the same
around a lot.
Yep, the same grind spline is just unforgiving on your balance, so you have to find ways to vary it up. Wall rides and manual the ledge and stuff.
B, so what's right here, B is having a little bit of issues. This is a thing. Yeah, okay, she got a second, but not too bad.
There we go.
Yeah, we're super close between JoeRandom and sawwl, which
yeah, it's wild.
Not surprised. Now it's time for the buses. These are all on a global timer as soon as you start the actual goal. So we get the first 2, then we kind of have to wait for a second. And what they try to do is there is might as well be perfect strat where you can wall ride into the minute you hit the wall ride, like the next frame it can go out of bounds. It'll count the wall ride. And you kind of want to do that since it restarts you further up, and you can just go ahead and start making your way to the 4th one. But those are on a global timer that doesn't really change.
Hey, that was awesome.
Thank you, Chad Muska. Still chilling.
Chilling.
Ooh, now we're hanging with Rodney.
There's not a lot.
There's some cool flatland.
That's one that like forces you to stop. Like you can't pick up speed, right? So you're just like
you
in
have to stay right there. I think if you go outside the bounds, Rodney's like, get back here. He just forces you back down. He's like, go do it.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with London for the 80% route. Remember quickly, it's after this one with Chad Muska doing this long ghetto tag grind. There's a couple of different ways you could do this. But for the most part, you kind of, if you're on a decent run, you kind of don't want to risk it. And you kind of just want to do it normally. As long as you have the ghetto tag somewhere in the combo, as you saw with sawwl, that's all that matters. And with that, we're going to Zoo, which
That was funny.
this is the last unlock level before we have to choose one for the rest of the goals. Because there's a lot of goals that we miss out on, but most of those goals are super long. So it's easier to finish up what we have, go to all the fast goals, complete Zoo, and then go straight into Chicago, because that's where all the fast goals are. Carnival might have a decent route, but no one wants to try it because Carnival is a level. It's one of the levels for sure.
It is a level for sure.
Okay, look. JoeRandom's going for a world record attempt right here with this hippo. Oh man, can he hit this? Can he hit this? Oh man, he got world record. Easy. sawwl's right behind him with the world record too. We're about to get records together. Oh man, look at that. Easy
Yeah,
record.
this is insane.
Go for that
71.
one.
How many
Go
pro
for that
points do
one.
they need for any percentage? Is it 80 or 90 or something?
I remember. I think it's 80.
Okay.
I'm sure that someone's gonna be actually in chat. So the joke for the double world record thing, for those wondering, because it's kind of an in joke for the community, that has an IL timer for some reason, and there's no possible way to complete it without hitting like a 0 on the timer. So on the time, like you go to the main menu, it's gonna say your time is this, and it doesn't matter which platform you're on, everyone gets the same time, and there's like 20 people tied for world record on that IL. It's so weird. It's 90.
Okay. It's 90.
91
Okay,
if
so
you
for
wanna count the
reference,
actual pro
we're like,
level
what,
game.
18, 20 off from any percentage.
This monkey's.
Still blows my mind. I'm just like watching this and just mind being perpetually blown.
Yeah, we're getting close there. We're getting, all right, we're in the end game. And Chicago has a lot of really tough goals that can. It's still not over until Chicago, and even then the final goal. So one thing as well I forgot to mention at the start, everyone's kind of using a cast because the cast has their own pro goal, as opposed to a regular pro skater. They have their own pro goal as well. The cast one is insanely quick. It's only a few seconds. It's just do a movie thing with a bunch of explosions on a train. We'll have a pro goal race later where you guys get to see more of those goals that were the pro goals at least. That's gonna be a fun one for sure, but they're just too slow for the 80% route.
Okay, try this.
So it works out that you use a creative skater and that just happens to be the quickest route.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that one playing tricks on us. camera shake and all that. But
Yeah, it's funny enough. B's been messing around with that one for the last few days because there's some really wonky ways you could finish that goal. We might not see in this race, but there's like ways where you can not even do the goal and go all the way across the level to another helicopter, and it's like kind of like storage of another attempt, and it counts that. It's weird. It's kind of hard to explain. It'd be better for them to explain. It's just really weird. Lots of combos, we just missed it, but that one sucks in the fact that if you miss any of those combos, like you
Start
you
all
have to
over.
get a combo. It's all over. You got to restart the entire goal. And one attempt takes you about 2 or 3 seconds, and you have to slow down, cutscene. Then you have to go to the next location. So it's like 5 or 6 seconds, another 5 or 6 seconds. Then you have to hit it again. So you can lose like upwards 10, 20 seconds on that one goal easily. Yeah, these guys are super close though still. This is insane.
yeah, this is top tier gaming. I think it's going to come down to whoever has the better gaming chair.
That's all that matters in the end. So we're in the end game. This is the final level of the game already. We're at the end. We're here in Chicago. I'm going to clean up the rest of the goals that we need. Get 900K here. There's a number of different routes that we had. One of the biggest things is that's unique to 4 is that if you do an Indy 900 and before the combo completely lands, and if you're able to do some sort of turn in the air, such as we had, like we were going up that slope, we jumped off that and did a turn, it counts the bonus points for the string on the Indy 900. So you're doing it like a 540 Indy 900, and it gives you an insane amount of points. And it used to be we used to do 2 of those, I'm pretty sure. At least on the 1.5 million route, we do that. And it makes things super quick. And, well, we just abuse the heck out of it in this case.
And so that works on every competitive like goal in this game, right? Doesn't matter the level for all those competition goals. Yeah.
Later ones, they do cap it where they don't let you do it. Usually, or they let you do it, but they don't put it on the Indy 900. They'll put it on like the trick before it. Like say you do like a boneless, it'll put the 540 on the boneless as opposed to the Indy 900. It's just for whatever reason Ford does that in this case. And again, it makes things a lot easier. But that goal has had a lot of different routes. Mafioso's goal here, they have weird hitboxes. You can hit them. Sometimes you have to slow down. And if you're on a good run, you want to slow down. If you're just YOLOing it, you can just wing it. But you kind of have to flip trick over them, but their hitboxes are a little disjointed. It's not, sometimes it's a little in front of them. Sometimes it's on top of them. It's really weird how it works. Sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you won't. Saul is probably gonna, he was trying to YOLO on that 5th one, but just couldn't get it right there, for example. Because of that, JoeRandom is kind of increasing his lead. He's schmooving right now, honestly.
Yep. Still, the pace on all these is still crazy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
5 hydrants, so Saul's 3 hydrants behind.
Yeah, that's like good. You get 10 seconds. This warp right here, I think it's over here. I hate this goal. This goal is you have to knock over the ball players in a combo. Sometimes you do that, it will count one of them as opposed to 2 of them. But it was kind of found out that you kind of can jump into them, and it kind of helps. Like it used to be that we just kind of manualed into them, or you just grinded on them, like you just saw right there with Saul, and it only counted one of them. So it's sometimes you'll get just gypped, and you'll have to go for a longer
right
combo.
there. Oh, okay.
Yeah, as long as you get the 10, if you land out of bounds or you land in the water, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Right here is Saul, missed it with Joe, but it was found out years ago that you can kind of go on the side of it, drop down, and do a combo of 100K over towards the drawbridge. Because it used to be you had to be up there to get 100K. That's slow, of course. We found a way to just make that faster. This drawbridge is also evil, I will say.
True. Valid.
There's a lot of ways you can just kind of do the wrong tricks if you're bad like me. This combo right here is also really mean. It's very easy to mess up the O right there. As soon as you get the O, you kind of move into the end. The drop downs help a little bit there as well. And Joe's coming up really close. He's not too far behind. He has 2 goals left. He's going to set a breakpoint right here. He's going to do a 900 on top of the ferry. And nails it easy. Saul is having some issues getting the combo, but it looks like he should be fine. And afterwards, he's going to come over here to his undercover cop, and then he's going to hit these cop cars, and he's going to go to the final goal of the game. So time is coming up for JoeRandom very shortly. Might be a little bit behind, but with him getting 90, he unlocks the final goal of the game, which is going back to Shipyard and doing a really cool movie shoot type thing. And time for him is going to be as soon as he lips onto the helicopter.
Unreal.
He also had to do a combo, so that's the thing that sucks. You'll see right here, he goes around and he hits it easily, but kind of just like moves around so he doesn't have to do like any sort of extra transfers.
Yeah,
and
I saw that. I skipped the quarter pipe.
Easy. Yeah, you don't have to do the quarter pipe. You can just kind of as long as you're able to keep a good momentum of your manual, you can kind of just circle around. And that's just insane. Joe just kind of went off, TBH.
Yeah.
33:08.
Wow.
World record, by the way, is a 33:32. I'm sorry, 32:32. I'm sorry, I don't know my math. So that wasn't too far off from a world record run. Like the men just went off. Saul's coming up on time as well. And got that as well. He's
Yeah, that
still
was crazy.
Yep. Dude, as I said, these things are whack. These guys are so good. 33:44 for Saul. And a 33:08 for JoeRandom.
Y'all were neck and neck the whole time. Like there was a bit of more of distance created in Chicago, but it was like neck and neck for a lot of the way.
I just kind of went off.
Dang, dude. I thought I was going to win, not going to lie.
It was
Joe's
really close.
Joe's
to
is built different. Everyone, all right. Joe's a robot. Everyone knows it, right?
He got a 33:06. That's crazy. That's like 10 seconds from his PB.
Oh yeah, it is 10
Props to
seconds
Joe.
for you too. Dang.
Yeah, props to
He's
him.
going off.
Oh,
He's
well.
coming up towards the end as well. She's not too far. She wasn't too far behind. She's only 2 goals behind before the end game. Doing an Indy 900. Not Indy 900, just the 900. Easy enough.
Fair enough, man.
He's still going to come in for a very good time for B. He held it in the beginning, but these towards the mid game is kind of when things kind of fell apart. There's a couple goals that she was starting to mess out on. Shipyard train goal didn't help matters either. And she's coming up on the end as well. We don't have much longer for her.
Yeah.
I noticed in the PC version there's no like motion blur for that last cast goal.
Yeah,
I didn't even know there was motion blur in the other console versions. Thank God.
Like shakes
Yeah.
and blurs everywhere.
Let's see what she
I got a
does here.
33 though.
I'm going for the regular old strat. Okay. Oh, also, you can land the combo. I forgot to say this, but if you do a buffered boneless, it keeps the combo for some reason. And just like
Yeah.
Nice work,
super
B.
quick. Dang.
Yeah, we rock.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we literally rock, dude. Holy crap.
Y'all just went off. TBH.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really close. Everyone was within a couple minutes.
Yeah.
35:52 for B. GG's to everyone.
Yeah, GG's. Claps in chat for the runners. Y'all are
Yeah, that was a good
absolutely
race.
insane.
That was a good race. As always, our THPS4 races are usually really close. Historically, we've had some really good runners come in, and like it come down to literally seconds to the point of I actually had to retime everything because it was just so quick. Was a bit further away in this case, but it was still a really good race overall. So GG's to all 3 of you.
For sure.
All right. Well, thank y'all. Excellent race. We're going to go to a quick break, and then we'll be right back with another race of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 Pro Goals between Crystal Kamikaze and Frankie. So, be right back. Stay tuned.